People online call this a $3 trick that makes any metal rust-proof forever. I do not buy that. But watch this orange square on an old steel shovel. In about 10 minutes, without grinding it shiny, and without covering it in black paint, the rust starts turning dark. That part is real. The question is not whether the reaction happens. The question is where it works, where it fails, and whether it can help an old tool survive a wet week in the garage. I have thrown away tools that probably still had a few years left in them. I have also sanded tools down too hard because shiny metal looked like progress. Then, a few weeks later, rust came back from the socket, the edge or the place where the tool sat wet against the floor. So now, I do not start with the whole tool, I start with one patch. If that patch reacts well, the tool may be worth saving. If nothing happens, I find that out before wasting the afternoon. For this version, I am using the cheap, raw route tannic acid powder and distilled water. A small bag of tannic acid powder can cost around $3 online, depending on the seller and size. The price gets attention, but the price alone is not the trick. The real trick is understanding what the powder is doing to rusty iron, and what it cannot do after the metal is already damaged. This is not for every metal, and it is not forever by itself. But on the right rusty steel tool, the reaction is useful enough to test. Start with something from the garage. A shovel head, an old axe head, a rusty hinge, a garden tool, a toolbox corner, a hand tool that still feels solid but looks too orange to ignore. This method is for iron and ordinary steel. The quick check is a magnet. Touch it to the rusty part. If it grabs firmly, you are probably in the right category. If the magnet does not stick, stop and identify the metal first. Aluminum does not rust like iron. Brass does not rust like iron. Copper stainless steel and galvanized metal need different treatment. If you force this onto the wrong surface, you are not doing a clever repair. You're just putting stain where chemistry does not belong. Here is the line I would not cross. Nothing that touches food. No cookware. No kitchen surfaces. Nothing that stops steers, lifts, or supports a vehicle. No brake lines. No vehicle frames. No suspension parts. No lifting points. Nothing structural where failure can hurt someone. This is a surface treatment for ordinary iron and steel tools around the house. It can help with surface rust. It cannot bring back metal that has already been eaten away. So pick a tool that is still solid. If the blade is cracked, the hinge is crumbling, or the metal is thinning where it used to be strong, this is not the right repair. A rusty shovel is a good candidate. A safety part is not. This is the part that looks like a trick, but it is just chemistry doing something visible. The orange rust on iron and steel is iron oxide. It is rough, weak, and porous. Water can keep moving through it, which is why paint over bad rust often fails from underneath. Tannic acid can react with iron rust and form a darker compound called ferric tannate. That blue-black surface is what you are looking for during the test. You do not need to remember the chemical name. What matters is the change in the surface. The rust is not vanishing. The tool is not becoming new metal. The firm rust on the surface is being converted into a darker, more stable layer that can be easier to protect. That is why this is a conversion step, not a final finish. This simple version uses tannic acid powder and distilled water, so you can see the raw reaction clearly on one small patch. Some commercial rust converters are more complete products. They may include acid helpers, film-forming ingredients, or additives that help the treatment behave more consistently. That does not make the powder useless. It just means the powder route and the bottle route are not the same thing. The powder route is good when you want to test the reaction cheaply. Mix only a small amount and see exactly what the tannic acid is doing before you decide how far to take the tool. This is not the strongest industrial coating system. It is a simple garage test that tells you whether the rusted iron surface is willing to convert. That is useful to know before you sand paint or replace the tool. For the simple test, use tannic acid powder and distilled water. Take a small cup that will never go back into the kitchen. Add warm distilled water. Stir in tannic acid powder until the water looks like strong black tea. You are not making paste. You are not making paint. You want a thin liquid that can wet the rusty surface and get into small pits. I use distilled water because it keeps the test cleaner. Tap water can carry minerals that do not help the job. Put on gloves and eye protection before opening the powder. This does not need drama. It just needs normal garage sense. The solution can stain skinwood concrete cloth and anything else it splashes onto. Work over cardboard or a tray. Keep it away from food surfaces, kids' pets, and anything you do not want stained. Do not mix it with random cleaners, rust gels, acids, or other products on the bench. If you want a ready-made converter with extra ingredients, buy one and follow that label. Do not invent a stronger formula by combining products that were not meant to be mixed. For this test, keep the mix simple. Tannic acid powder, distilled water, 1 rusty iron or steel patch. Most people think the goal is to make the metal shiny first. That is not what I am doing here. For this process, you do not need to remove every bit of rust. You need to remove the rust that is already failing. Bring the tool to the bench and brush the rusty area before you treat it. Use a wire brush, steel wool, or a hand scraper. Drag it across the rust and watch what falls onto the cardboard. The loose orange flakes are trash. If they fall away like dry crumbs, brush them off. You do not want that loose dust trapped under any coating, but the rust that stays attached is different. Under the flaky layer, you may find rust that still holds to the tool. It may look orange or brown, but it does not crumble when you brush it. That firm rust is the part the tannic acid can react with. This is where the method feels backward at first. You are not polishing the tool for a showroom. You are preparing the surface for a reaction. The surface can still look rusty before treatment. It just cannot be loose, greasy, wet, or dusty. I spend more time around the ugly spots than the flat middle. On a shovel, that means the socket where the handle meets the head. On a hinge, it means the pin, screw holes, and lower edge. On a toolbox, it means the folded corner underneath. Those are the places where moisture sits after the tool gets put away. After brushing, wipe the area clean. Get rid of orange dust, dirt, oil, and old grease. If the surface is oily, the solution will bead up instead of wetting the rust. Let the patch dry before you brush anything on. The surface does not have to look new. It just has to give the tannic acid a clean shot at the firm rust. Mark a small rusty patch with masking tape. Brush the tannic solution onto that patch in a thin coat. Work it into rough spots and shallow pits, but do not flood the surface. Too much is not better here. When the coat is too heavy, it runs down the tool and dries unevenly. If you see dark streaks sliding off the patch, use less. If the liquid beads up instead of soaking into the rusty surface, stop and clean the area again. Oil, grease, or dust is probably still in the way. Now give it time. In about 10 to 15 minutes, the orange may start to dull. Some areas may turn brown. Some may shift toward gray or blue-black. That darkening is the useful signal. It means the tannic acid is reacting with iron rust on the surface. Look closely at the edge of the patch. If one pit stays orange while the area around it turns dark, that spot probably was not prepped well enough. If a dark streak runs down the side, the coat was too heavy. If half the patch changes and half does not, the rust is not behaving the same everywhere. That is information you can use. A clean, even darkening tells you the surface is responding. Uneven color tells you where the prep or application needs work. You are not just watching rust turn black. You are learning whether the whole tool is worth doing. Once the patch turns dark, let it dry. Do not rush because the color looks good. Check the lower edge pits. Screw holes and seams. Those areas hold moisture longer than the flat middle. If the patch still looks glossy or sticky, wait. After the first coat dries, a second thin coat can help even out the surface. The first coat starts the conversion. The second coat catches small misses, shallow pits, and rough edges. Keep it thin. You are not trying to build a thick black shell. You are trying to convert the surface cleanly and get it ready for protection. If the second coat softens or lifts the first one you move too soon or brush too hard, let it dry longer and use a lighter hand. After the converted surface is dry, seal it. This is the step that separates a useful repair from a color change trick. The dark layer is not a raincoat. For an indoor hand tool, protection might be oil wax paint or another coating that makes sense for that surface. For outdoor hardware, use something made for weather. Pay attention to where water sits. That means protecting the places where water actually hides the shovel socket, the hinge pin, and around the screw holes. You also need to coat the folded seam under a toolbox corner or the back of a bracket pressed against a damp wall. A wide flat surface may look good first. The edge is usually where rust comes back. Protect the edge. Here is the test that matters more than the first color change. I did this same patch test on an old shed hinge 1 week ago. One side was left alone after brushing. No tannic acid, no protection. Just the original rust cleaned enough to remove the loose flakes. The other side got the tannic acid solution dried, got a second thin coat, and then got a light protective finish. Then I left the hinge outside through a wet week. Now look at the two sides. The untreated side is already showing orange again around the screw hole and along the lower edge exactly where water sat. The treated side is not perfect. It still has pits. It still looks like an old hinge. But the surface stayed darker, and the orange bloom did not return the same way. The first color change is interesting. The week later result is what matters. That comparison tells you whether the process gave the tool a better chance in real garage conditions. This is the point where I decide whether the rest of the tool deserves the same treatment. Not from the first dark patch alone, from what happens after damp air has had time to attack it again. Now that you have seen the good result here is where I would not trust the trick. It works best on surface rust that is still attached to iron or ordinary steel. It fails when people ask it to do the wrong job. It does not rebuild missing metal. It does not repair cracks. It does not make a weak part safe. If the tool is thin, cracked, deeply pitted, or flaking apart in layers, replace it. It also fails when the tool goes back into the same wet storage. If you treat a shovel and lean it blade down on damp concrete, moisture still has a path back in. Hang it up. Keep the repaired edge dry. Do not store it where water collects. Salt is tougher. Road salt, coastal air, and salty grime make rust more aggressive. If the tool lives around salt, clean it better, coat it better, and inspect it more often. Wrong metal is another common failure. If the magnet does not grab, do not force this method onto the part. And if the part is food-related, structural, or safety critical, this is the wrong repair. Use this where a surface treatment makes sense. A small bottle of branded rust converter can run in the $15 to $30 range, depending on brand size and store. The tannic acid powder route can be much cheaper. You may see small bags around $3 online, depending on seller and quantity. That price gap is why people click. But the powder route is not only about being cheap. It makes sense when you have several old tools and you want to test small patches without burning through a bottle. It also makes sense when you want to see the raw reaction clearly without a thick commercial product hiding what the rust is doing. You can mix a little, use it on one patch, and stop. That is useful in a garage full of half-rusty tools. The bottle route has its own advantage. A branded converter may apply more evenly dry, more predictably, include other ingredients, and give you a clearer top coat window. So I do not look at this as powder versus bottle, with one side always winning. The powder helps you understand the reaction. The bottle helps when you want a more controlled product. What both routes share is the same basic idea. Change the rusted iron surface first, then protect it from water afterward. Once you understand that the label on the bottle makes more sense, and the cheap powder stops looking like magic. If you try this, check it after a few damp days. Look at the edge, the seam, and the spot where water sits. That is where the truth shows up first. Comment with what you tested, whether the magnet grabbed, and what happened after a week. A real result on an old tool is more useful than a perfect photo. Start with one patch. Make the rust prove the method before you trust it on the whole tool.